Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It's your Ate Sapphire. I have been in Iceland for the past 6 days. And so I'm happy to be home. I went for a family wedding. It was really fun, very cold, and also incredibly expensive. So if you ever want to visit there, save up. It's it's very pricey. Um, all right, let's see who's here. Hi, Betsy the Dino, Scribbles, Games 101, Aiden L, Bree C, This Girl Lit, Queen J. How is everybody doing? Um, where is my notes? What do I do? Why do I do this every time? All right, so a couple quick reminders. The YouTube series is still on hiatus, but that's because we're working on a bunch of different things for something scary that require full attention because episodes take a lot of my time and I can't focus on those other things that are also really cool if I'm doing the YouTube series at the same time. So I'm really sorry about that. Please don't hate me. Please don't yell at me. Please don't say mean things to me in the comments. Anyways, also quick reminder, we've got some merch. If you look beneath the video, those are the links to our Teespring site. And don't forget to follow me. Here's my thingies, my Twitter, my Instagram, and my YouTube and my Twitch. Also, I have a really cool thing to announce. If you are an artist, or even if you're not an artist, but you've got Photoshop, we are doing a banner contest. So for the month of October, we want to feature one of your art pieces in our banner on Snarled. So the way that you enter is, I'm going to tell you at the end of the stream. So at the end of the stream, I will tell you how to enter, what hashtag to use, when it's due, all that fun stuff. Yeah. Cool. All right. Okay. So while I was in Iceland, I got this really cool book. Well, we were like part of this tour. All the people who were part of the wedding went on this like sightseeing bus, and like we drove around the like tiny little peninsula. And our tour guide told us a bunch of really cool stories about like the myths and stuff in Iceland. So like one of the major things, this is a book I got from a store. Whoops. Wow, you cannot read that. The Trolls and the Knolls. Shad Katea, I don't know if I got your email. I haven't checked in a while. Anyways, oh no, I'm getting gassy. All right, so one of the things that Iceland is known for, they're called like I'm not going to say this right, the Holder folk. Did I say that right? The Holder folk, which means like the hidden people. So it's basically like elves and stuff, and it's kind of interesting. Like Iceland, like to them, it's not just like merely a superstition. It's actually part of their culture. So I'm going to read this. It's a very short, like it's called The Genesis of the Hidden People. And it's just like how the hidden people came to be. It's very silly to me. All right, here we go. Once upon a time, God Almighty paid a visit to Adam and Eve. They welcomed him and showed him all their worldly possessions. They also showed him their children, who seemed to him very promising. But don't you have more children than the ones you've shown to me? He asked Eve. No, she replied. But this was a lie. As it happened, Eve had not been finished bathing some of the children and was ashamed to let God see them, so she had hidden them from him. God knew this and said, "That which was to be hidden from me shall henceforth be hidden from mankind." These children now became invisible to humans and lived in hills and mountains, cliffs and stones. Their descendants are the elves, or the hidden people, while mankind is descended from those of Eve's children, whom she showed to God. Mortals can never see elves unless the elves themselves wish to be seen, but they can always see humans and decide whether to be visible to them. So that's what the hidden people are. What's kind of interesting is that I feel like cultures all over the world have their own version of the hidden people. Like in Filipino mythology, the hidden people are the duendes, and I've definitely done a couple episodes on that. It's a one, I think it's like episode number 4, something where my aunt's niece, who was not me, even though I am also my aunt's niece stepped on a duende's house and then it like possessed her or something. But yeah, so I don't know. I think that's kind of interesting that like all over the world that you can find similarities in all of these folk tales. I don't know. It's like, what does that say? But here's a really quick story about like what I meant when I said that like in Iceland these are more than just superstitions. Like they truly believe these things. So here's a story of the most like famous incident of the hidden people in Iceland. The most famous story involves, I cannot say this, Elf Hill Road, a road that was at one point intended to run through Alfhol, a hill where elves are believed to live. Construction was begun on this road on 2 separate occasions, but each time a collection of misfortunes and thefts prevented it from being completed. The widespread belief that elves and huldufólk live within the rocks and mountainsides of Iceland sometimes complicates things for non-Icelandic organizations trying to set up shop. Sometimes new construction will be halted by concerned Icelanders who wish to protect the habitats of elves and huldufólk. For instance, in 1982, over 100 Icelanders protested at a NATO base and demanded to inspect the area for any elf dwellings. In 2004, ALCOA, a company that specializes in aluminum, had to halt construction of a smelter, I don't know what that is, and hire a government official to inspect the area for elven ruins. While much of the world likes to poke fun at the idea of wacky Icelanders getting worked up over fairy tales, belief in elves and huldufólk may be about more than simple superstition. It's possible that belief in the supernatural in Iceland may be related to modern-day environmentalism. To better understand this theory, we have to take a look back at early Nordic history. According to Alaric Hall, a researcher of medieval Icelandic beliefs, Iceland's elves may have been created by early Viking conquerors who were disappointed to find that there was not much to conquer on the barren island of Iceland. Hall notes, like everyone else in Western Europe in the Middle Ages and in the early modern period, they really wanted to be invaders. So what elves did is they provide this kind of earlier indigenous population that can allow you to feel like a conqueror. These early folk legends evolved as the Vikings became more familiar with their new home. As they began to colonize the island, legends persisted of indigenous people who still inhabited the earth. These legends taught the Vikings to respect the land, lest they anger its indigenous inhabitants, and almost acted as an early manifestation of modern-day environmentalism. So that's kind of cool. That actually kind of cracks me up, the idea that the Vikings would just like invent a species of invisible people so that they felt like they were conquering people. Like, isn't that kind of sad? What are you guys talking about BTS for? Isn't that like a K-pop group? Huria Ansari, no, you're not late. I literally just started. So, Brenna Reed, is my aunt okay? Yeah, my aunt's fine. She was not the one who was possessed. It was her niece. Yeah. So what was I saying? Oh, and also something that's kind of like interesting that our tour guide also told us is that there is a legend that there's like giant trolls that live near the mountains and stuff, but they can only move around at night, and when the sunlight hits them, they freeze and turn to stone, which is why when you look on like the mountainsides, it kind of looks like troll faces. So that was kind of their like folkloric explanation for why you can see like faces on the side of mountains, which I thought was kind of cool. Yeah, if you just Google like Icelandic troll faces and mountains, maybe, then you could like see them. Yeah. Do I have any people watching from Iceland right now? Really, Winster Chill, really quick, why do you believe in ghosts? I don't personally, but I would love to hear your thoughts on the matter. That's because I feel like when you say, I don't know. Well, first of all, about half the population believes in ghosts and the other half like does not. But I feel like I don't know, it's more nuanced than that, I guess, because like when people usually think of ghosts, they think of, like movie ghosts where it's like, ooh, like angry, like girls in white nightgowns walking around with their hair in front of their face. Like, I don't think that that's how it is. But like, I've heard enough stories from reputable people, like, my aunts and my cousins and friends and strangers, who've like seen spirits and shit. And so like, it's kind of like, I don't know. I think there's enough evidence to think that like there is something that like happens that we cannot explain. And I think that it's very arrogant to say that it can't be possible. Like, it may not be possible in the way that movies explain it, like usually, I don't know. You know what I mean? Am I making any sense? It's like spirits are fucking real. Like, whether or not you believe in them, like, they're fucking real. And it's just a matter of like what you believe those spirits like are. Do you believe they're like people in another dimension that are just like here and they show up sometimes, or like, no, they're fucking real. Oh, Shadow Galaxy. I'll take Sapphire. Anyways, now I got distracted. Okay. What? Okay. Oh. Hi, Jeffrey Bunting. Thank you for the super chat. Oh, my good friend from England. There's a really cheap, horrible supermarket called Iceland here, which sells a lot of worryingly cheap frozen chicken, possibly unrelated. It's silly. All right, so I'm going to read you guys another story from this book. It's another short one. You know what I've what I've come to realize about most fairy tales and folklore is that they're not very well written. It's kind of like, oh, some crazy shit happens, and then that's the moral of the stories. Like, don't do bad shit. You know what I mean? Anyways. All right, this one's called Mother in the Pen. Once upon a time, there was a woman who worked as a farmhand. She was unmarried but had become pregnant, given birth to the child and exposed it or left it out to die. This was not uncommon in Iceland, but often carried heavy penalties, including fines and even capital punishment. Sometime later, a dance of the kind known as Vikivaki was to be held, as was common in those days. The girl was invited to the Vikivaki. She was a vain woman, but didn't own suitable finery for such an occasion, so she felt that she must stay at home and miss all the fun. This made her quite upset. Shortly before the event, the woman was milking sheep in pens with another woman. She complained to the other woman that her lack of suitable clothing for the Vikivaki. As soon as she had spoken, they heard the following verse chanted from under the pen wall. Mother in the pen, don't you worry then. I'll gladly give my rag to you to dance in. The woman who had exposed her child realized the message was meant for her. She was so shocked by the verse that she lost her mind and was mad for the rest of her days. Like, that's it. Like, what? Sometimes these stories crack me up because I'm like, wait. That made like no sense. But basically the child that she left out to die was speaking to her in the walls. Anyways, I'm going to read you guys another one because that one's kind of dumb. All right. This one's called The Lady Would Like Her Head's Worth. So this one is like an explanation of why the rocks have different colors and stuff. If you go to my Twitter, you can see some of the rock photos that I took from Iceland, because like Iceland has some cool rocks. Anyways, here we go. Once upon a time, there lived a man and a woman. They were so poor that they had nothing of value except for a head of gold on the woman's spindle. The man went out every day to hunt or fish for their sustenance. Not far from the cottage was a large hill. It was believed to be the home of a hidden man by the name of Kidus. I'll say Kidus because I don't know how to say that. He was considered a dangerous character. One day, as usual, the man went out hunting while his wife stayed at home. The weather was fair, so she sat outside with her spindle and worked at her spinning for a while. Suddenly, the golden head fell off the spindle and rolled out of the woman's sight. She was quite vexed by this and searched high and low for it, but the head eluded her every effort. When the man returned home, she told him of the incident. "I'm sure Kidus took your spindle head," said the man. "It would be just like him. I'll go demand that he give us either the head or some compensation for it." The man readied himself to leave home again, and the woman was returned to good spirits. The man marched to Kidus's hill and banged on it for a long while with his staff. Kidus finally called, "Who bangs on my house?" The man said, "I'm the one who pounds your earth. The lady would like her head's worth." She wants her spindle head back. "What do you want then?" Kidus asked. "Give me oats for our cooking. We're making porridge," said the man. Kidus then gave the man a barrel of oats. The man took it home, and the woman cooked the porridge. When the porridge was cooked, they took their seats and ate as much as they could stomach. When they had eaten their fill, there was still plenty left in the pot. "What should we do with all these leftovers?" asked the man. "I think the best thing to do would be to give them to the Blessed Virgin Mary," said the woman. I don't know why. They soon realized that it wouldn't be easy to get all the way up to where she was. They decided to ask Kidus for a ladder that could reach up to heaven. "That won't be an expensive price to pay for the spindlehead," said the man. The man went and knocked on Kidus's hill again. Kidus asked as before, "Who bangs on my house?" The man said, "I'm the one who pounds your earth. The lady would like her head's worth." This angered Kidus, who said, "Will the damned head never be paid in full?" "Ah, Kidus," the man pleaded gently, "I'd like to give the Virgin Mary the rest of our porridge." Kidus was persuaded, gave him a ladder, and helped him erect it. The man was overjoyed and returned home to his wife. They prepared themselves for the journey and carried the porridge in buckets. When they had climbed quite high up the ladder, they began to feel dizzy. They were both so severely affected that they fell from the ladder and cracked their heads open. Their brains and the porridge were splattered around the world. Where the couple's brains splattered on stones, they formed white splotches, while the porridge formed yellow ones. They can still be seen on rocks today. And there's a little picture of the guy. Yeah. Anyways, I know, isn't that weird? And it's actually kind of funny. Like, so many of the Icelandic fairy tales are kind of violent, kind of graphic. Like, there's a waterfall that we visited where the name of the waterfall is called Children's Falls, and they just have a story where like a little boy and a little girl just like walking around and they fall in. And that's the story. Which is kind of funny to me. But yeah. So that's that. Crap, did I have anything else? Okay, are you guys ready? Are you guys ready to know about the banner contest that we're doing? So, for the month of October, you can submit a original banner or like piece of art, whatever. And this is how the contest is going to work. So if you can post it on Instagram or Twitter with the hashtag something scary banner. Let me write that down here, actually. Hang on. Hashtag something scary banner. Boom. Whoops. Whoopsies. All right, so make sure you tag it with that. And then upload it to either Instagram or Twitter, and then make sure that you tag at We Are Snarled, and also mine at Awkward Sapphire, so that I could see it. Not in the comment. Tag it like as a like tag me in the photo. You know what I mean? And so what's going to happen is the way that you vote is if you go to the hashtag, go to something scary banner, and then all the photos that have the most likes. We're going to whittle it down to the top 2. And then on September 24, I'm going to post it on Instagram, and you guys will vote between the top 2. And then I'll announce the winner on my live stream that Wednesday. So all of the art is due September 21st, which is Friday, and it's also my birthday. Hey. So you have until September 21st to upload a original piece of art, like some fan art, whatever. And also try to make it the size of the YouTube, like if you Google the YouTube banner dimensions, you'll find it. When you post it on Instagram or Twitter, you don't necessarily have to like make it that big, just show like a piece of it, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, if you win, I will eventually need you to email the full version to me. So like keep that in mind. And then we'll keep that banner up all of October. So yeah, if you want to join, make sure you upload by September 21st. Yeah, cool. All right. So next week we're gonna go right back into story sharing again. I know feel like I haven't like actually told you guys stories in a while. But yeah, so if you have a story you'd like to submit, this is my email right here, somethingscary@snarled.com. Make sure you give it a unique title in the subject line. Make it descriptive. Tell me like what the story's actually about. It makes it so much easier when I'm filtering through and trying to find things like according to a theme, because it gets real complicated. Also, every Wednesday night, I do a thing on my Twitch called Ouija Wednesday, where I invite a guest over who's like interested in the paranormal or is like cool in some way, and then we talk about it. Tonight, I have a family friend coming over. Her name is Soraya. She is a ceremonial Aztec dancer, and I have no idea what that means, but I'm very excited to talk to her about it. And if you guys saw the episode about a girl named Baby, where she had like an imaginary friend named Sven, she's not the girl in the story, but she's the girl who told me the story. That makes sense. Yay. All right. Let me say bye to all the people that stuck around. This girl lit, Unicorn Girl Unis, DW, Brenna Reed, It's Snailia, Little Carter Adventures, Starmations, Maylene Castillo, Mary Chewy, Penaloza, Lushes, Arms, and Carrie Cherry, Jade H. Esmeralda Ramos, OMG Girl, Emoji Star Anthony. All right, guys. I hope you have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week. Keep in touch, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.